routine bites high, and ambitions are low, and resentment rides high, but emotions won't grow, and we're changing our ways, taking different roads. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Why is the bedroom so cold? You turn away on your side. Is my timing that flawed? Our respect runs so wide. Yet there's still this appeal that we've kept through our life. Love will tear us apart again. Love will tear us apart again. Fly out in your sleep, all my failings exposed. There's a taste in my mouth as desperation takes hold. Just that something so good just can't function no more. Love will tear us apart again. 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 Check out some unlike versions or subscribe to be the first to see them every week. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up? What up, Twitch? What up, Cosmic? What up, bots? What up, lurkers? What up, tiny people in my chatterino? It's your boy. It's your boy. It's your boy. We are the baby eats a boy. Do. All right. All right. With no Stampy. No, Stampy is. I assume Stampy is sleeping because can. We are the baby eats a boy. We are the baby eats a boy. All right. I have anything. Yeah, expect Cosmic, expect the early starts for the rest of this week. As far as I know, should nothing change, um, then yeah, I'm gonna be doing starts around 9:30. Um, started a little bit earlier today because I was ready to, so I just went ahead and did it. Uh, no. All right. So I think we can just go ahead and get started. I don't think I have anything else to talk about. All right. We often talk about copyright on this show, and Trump fires director of U.S. Copyright Office, sources say. The Trump administration has fired the head of the U.S. Copyright Office. Two sources familiar with the situation confirmed to CBS News Saturday. The firing of Register of Copyrights Shira Perlmutter came after Perlmutter in her office earlier this week issued part 3 of a lengthy report about artificial intelligence and expressed some concerns and questions about the usage of copyrighted materials in AI technology. It's an open question, however, how much data an AI developer needs and the marginal effect of more data on a model's capabilities. Not everyone agrees that further increases in data and test performance will necessarily lead to continued real world improvements in utility. CBS News has reached out to the White House for comment. Perlmutter has held the position since October 2020 during the first Trump administration. She was appointed to the post by now former Librarian of Congress Carla Hayden, who herself was fired by President Trump on Thursday. Democratic Rep. Joe Morelle, ranking member of the Committee on House Administration said in a statement that Perlmutter's firing was a brazen, unprecedented power grab with no legal basis. I mean, yes, if you're if you recall, Cosmic, last month I told you about how my friend who works in Amazon fulfillment hello, name Z2. Welcome in. My friend who works in Amazon fulfillment said that you can expect to see an uptick in AI agents over the next 3 months. And I feel like that is exactly what we're seeing. Right? What up, Tariff? Is he fulfilled by his job? Um, he makes a bunch of money. And he doesn't hate his job, right? He doesn't hate his job. Um, he is respected, and you know, worst jobs you could have. Seems like some agents can now produce and run an entire business. I don't know, right? Like we have to be careful. We have to balance enthusiasm and exuberance with actual capabilities. So it's the kind of thing we would have to look at, right? Like what is actually going on as opposed to like you might be able to pull off something with an agent and then it's just, it's an example, it's an edge case, it's an outlier. It's about the trend. So it could be. We could be right on that edge, but I need more data in order to come to that conclusion. You know what I mean? Morell speculated that there was surely no coincidence he had acted less than a day after she refused to rubber stamp Elon Musk's efforts to mine troves of copyrighted works to train AI models, in reference to the report released by the Copyright Office this week. So this is the part 3. We looked at part 1 and part 2. I don't think we're going to go through the entire thing. We need, yeah, for the purposes of Twitch, we're talking about we would prefer an analysis, right? But if you do want to look at part 3, there it is. Have at it. Mm, 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 mm. Just skimming real quick. Oh, no, no, no. Doom, doom, doom. Last month, Musk took to his social media platform Twitter to seemingly express support for the abolition of intellectual property laws. Musk also owns AI startup XAI, which in February he submitted a failed bid to purchase OpenAI, the company that operates ChatGPT. What up, Barkeeter J? Mr. Trump has been a major proponent of AI. Immediately after taking office, he announced a joint venture involving OpenAI, SoftBank, and Oracle that will invest up to $500 billion in private sector money to build artificial intelligence infrastructure. All right. So we're going to keep an eye on that and see what happens. From Arizona State University, AI and justice. What role should artificial intelligence play in the criminal justice system. Where is it most likely for somebody to get hurt or killed? It's drinking and driving. And in that one area, Phoenix, I welcome our new artificial intelligence. In terms of taking away the most dangerous part of human activity on a daily basis. That's what panelist Eric Luna, Associate Dean for the Applied Research at the Sandra Day O'Connor College of Law, shared when emphasizing how AI can have positive outcomes and increasingly affect every part of our daily lives. In this example, he says automated rideshare driving vehicles may offer a safer alternative to those who choose to drive under influence. We have already seen it in Phoenix and in Washington, D.C. It's Waymo. If you were thinking about the system as it currently exists, big volumes of cases could be removed. I would need to see data, right? What up, one guy? It's a logical progression, right? That what time even is it? Time is an illusion. Currently, the standard in the locale that I am in is 9:37 a.m. Um, I mean, automated, full self-driving cars could uh prevent drinking and driving, obviously, because the person would not be driving after they had been drinking. Um, but we would need to see a change in the numbers, right? We would need to see a decrease in the amount of drinking and driving tickets, for instance, or arrests or what have you, um, in the area in order to actually come to some kind of conclusion on that, right? We need more data. In a thought provoking panel, a distinguished group of experts gathered at ASU's Barrett and O'Connor Center in Washington, D.C., to explore one of the most critical aspects of the AI revolution, the implication of artificial intelligence for the criminal justice system. What? I don't understand how that's relevant, Cosmic. As AI tools continue to gain momentum from predictive policing to forensic analysis, panelists offer insights into both the promises and pitfalls of this rapidly emerging technology. There's an urgent need for comprehensive AI education and training across the criminal justice system. Law enforcement officers, attorneys, judges, and government officials must develop a foundational understanding of AI tools to be effectively and ethically implement them. For Daniela Noguera, the chief counsel to the New Jersey Attorney General, a concern is how AI potentially amplifies discrimination in the justice system, especially in ways that are hard to detect. This is something that we talked about all the way since way back, right? Like this is actually one of the first potential issues that we addressed related to the increase in artificial intelligence in our daily lives is that um the tools that people were using for sentencing um, and parole, etc., were potentially flawed, potentially very flawed, due to the compounding effects of historical data in the data set. What up, Master Goosey? Right? If to make it completely arbitrary, right? If you have group A and group B, and historically group B has been convicted of more crimes than group A, as a percentage of their population, and Group B and Group A are both included in the data set, that the data set is going to be influenced without addressing those underlying issues towards harsher sentences for Group B, right? In New Jersey, the state has invested in technology to monitor for bias in AI beginning in 2023, when Governor Phil Murphy created an AI task force to study the potential impacts of AI on society and prepare recommendations for government actions encouraging the ethical use of AI technology. The state of New Jersey was the first state to do a comprehensive survey of its public employees and try to understand what they know about AI and how they anticipate to use it in the future. For example, our Division of Civil Rights has launched a Civil Rights Innovation Lab that is exploring different ways that technology needs to help review, incidents of bias and complaints of bias and harassment or discrimination, and doing things like being able to review online advertisements for employment or housing for discrimination. What up, Michael? Honk honk. Honk honk indeed. No truer words have ever been said. When asked how AI might be leveraged, not just by prosecutors and law enforcement, but also by defense attorneys, Jay Stanley, senior policy analyst at the ACLU, explained its dual potential. On one hand, AI offers powerful investigative capabilities, such as identifying suspects, analyzing massive data sets, and detecting patterns that human analysts might miss. Excuse me. On the other hand, without proper oversight, these tools can perpetuate bias, produce flawed outputs, and mislead investigators. Apparently, they, a state agency in Idaho, had integrated a new system, a computer system for evaluating who deserved to get paid and who didn't. There were transparency issues and so forth. It turned out that they were using a formula and a spreadsheet to evaluate, to use different variables, to cut a bunch of people off. These same vulnerabilities, Stanley noted, can be used by defense teams to challenge the integrity of AI generated devices. Like, this is going to be important going forward, right? We're in the early days, we're setting up systems, and like all systems, you should be able to test them, right? If I take your, you're going to install whatever, call it Turtle AI, right? Here's my Turtle AI. My Turtle AI is supposed to make determinations on, whatever. Who's going to get hamburgers on Friday? What up, Maddie? Um, and if I run simulations with like made up, one moment, Maddie. Like if I create imaginary people and I run them through the system, and I can do like multiple iterations of that, I can test to see if the outcomes are actually based on the criteria that I would want them to be based on. Right? I should be able to see what the outcomes are, and they should conform to some standard, whatever that standard may be. And if it doesn't, then we can then fix the AI system that's running that process. It's that Tortuga AI. What up, Joint Specialist? So yeah. Did you hear the Vatican has opinions on AI? I might not have heard the exact thing that you're talking about, but everyone has opinions on AI, so I would expect them to. Is this pre or post new pope? As AI use accelerates, so too does the conversation around how it should be regulated. AI regulation exists within a fragmented landscape of local, state, and international rules with varying degrees of oversight, enforcement, and ethical standards, creating inconsistencies in how AI is governed across jurisdictions. There's a patchwork of guidelines according to Nima Milaninia, partner at the Atlanta-based multinational law firm King and Spalding. It's a great name. There's no federal legislation on AI. Milaninia, who is on the firm's Special Matters and Government Investigation team, largely focuses on defense and compliance for tech companies and emerging technologies, including AI. Prior to that, he spent 9 years as a prosecutor in the International Criminal Court following his role as head of regulatory investigations at Google. I think the landscape, for better or worse, depending on how you view that, is deeply, deeply fragmented in terms of who's doing oversight better and who's doing it and who's doing it worse. It's hard to say. I said Google and Google paid attention to me. It fundamentally comes down to what is the benchmark by which you are judging these regulations. For Ashwini Jaral, director of the Integrated Justice Information System Institute, AI is already proving to be a valuable tool in enhancing public safety and helping justice services to be more productive, but the technology still requires strong human oversight. We have created AI translation and interpretation services that can handle over 120 languages. And that's been a very successful use case because translation is what you hear, but interpretation is what matters. It ensures responders understand the true context and can dispatch the right resources quickly. Jaral, who has led international efforts around the creation of many interoperability programs, says human validation is required for demonstrating high accuracy. In unique ways, AI is being applied meaningfully at various stages of the justice system, from emergency dispatch and courtroom document processing to corrections and community supervision. So, this is the thing, right? And this is ultimately what it comes down to. There are some people who will tell you that the correct way to interact with AI is not at all. It is to reject it whole for whatever reason and to not use it. And if you find out someone is using it, you should attempt to talk them out of it and everything else. This right here is the reason why I find that a flawed argument, right? Because it's happening, right? It's moving forward. It's becoming more and more, pervasive or invasive, whatever, however you want to, structure that. These people, these folks, these wonderful, wonderful folks are participating in the process in order to make sure that the best possible outcomes can be achieved. This is the correct way. This is the way. It's a nascent technology. It is becoming, again, more and more pervasive, more and more, you are interacting with artificial intelligence more and more every day. And to attempt to not participate in the future of the technology by participating in the technology now is to do not only yourself and the people around you, but future people a disservice. Because if the technology is happening, right, imagine if you will, that in 2000, right? Or in the let's put it in the post .com bubble era, right? Where Internet 2.0 was was forming itself. If due to the ability of the internet to be used in negative ways, which it has been proven that the internet can be used in negative ways, that you had organized people to reject the internet wholly, right? The people who own the internet and the websites on the internet are people you disagree with because they are capitalists and CEOs and tech bros and other people that you absolutely do not like. So you're going to abandon the internet to those people and the various other people who did crop up on the internet, right? We know all the different types of people who have cropped up on the internet. If you're confused, please go on Twitter and you will find them right away. Does that make logical sense? Is that the type of action you would have put in place, or would you have recommended not only that people did what they did do in establishing their own spaces on the internet, and creating additional spaces in networking and that type of thing, um, or just throw your hands up and let it go. Now, maybe you would have, and if I admire your conviction, especially if you can hear me at this point in time, because I am on the internet and you are on the internet, and I find that fascinating. But I believe that most people, regardless of their persuasion, their political persuasion, would participate in the internet in order to create their own spaces, in order to have their influence within the development of the technology, to do what they can, however large or small that may be. And that's what you should be doing, in my opinion. You do you, boo. I'm not your dad. I may look like your dad or a dad figure, but I am not your dad. You are going to make your own choices. I'm just going to lay out why I think you should make a particular choice, and you go from there. I don't think the ostrich act works anymore. Burying your head in the sand is very foolish. Well, I'm trying to avoid inflammatory language, Cosmic. But I, to the extent that I believe that that's very similar to what I just said. Yeah, I was orphaned last week. Only corpses look my. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, dude. that's that's. Yeah. No, I too am an orphan. I too am an orphan. Okay, let's take a look at something else. This is a this is a weird bit of news, right? Just that the weirdness that is 2025. 25, 20, 25. 25. The circle of life. There are some of us who do have, like, you know, I don't even know how you would put it, but just the idea of having like having a different view on death and life than other people. You know what I mean? just having a different relationship with it in that way, for better or worse. AI generated likeness of murder victim forgives his killer in court. A likeness of Christopher Pelkey, who was killed in a 2021 road rage episode, was part of a victim's impact statement. Also related to full self-driving, right? Like as an aside, right? Not to take focus away from this, but road rage. Road rage occurs, but road rage occurs because driving can be very stressful and traffic increases on like multiple levels that stress, right? And different people have different abilities to like control their anger and deal with these situations, and then people can get, like create conflict within the space, right? Like, so I'm driving and you cut me off, so now I have to try and get around and cut you off, because it's some sort of competition and everything else like that. That kind of thing. You can eliminate some of that with like full self-driving vehicles because you are no longer in that, in that space of being in control and directly interacting with that. What up, Minute? I am going to read the article and then make a conclusion, but it's weird. I'll say that at the outset. The letters came streaming in from battalion brothers who had served alongside Christopher Pelkey in Iraq and Afghanistan, fellow missionaries, and even a prom date. A niece and nephew addressed the court. Still, the voice that mattered most was Mr. Pelkey's older sister, Stacy Wales, who most likely, still the voice that mattered most to Mr. Pelkey's older sister, Stacy Wales, would most likely never be heard when it was time for an Arizona judge to sentence the man who killed her brother during a 2021 road rage episode. Victims. Ms. Wales, 47, had a thought. What if her brother, who was 37 and had done 3 combat tours of duty in the U.S. Army, could speak for himself at the sentencing? And what would he tell Gabriel Horcasitas, 54, the man convicted of manslaughter in the case? The answer came on May 1st when Miss Wales clicked the play button on a laptop in a courtroom in Maricopa County, Arizona. A likeness of her brother appeared on an 80-inch television screen, the same one that had previously displayed autopsy photos of Mr. Pelkey and security camera footage of his being fatally shot at an intersection in Chandler, Arizona. It was created with artificial intelligence. It's a shame that we encountered each other that day in those circumstances, the avatar of Mr. Pelkey said. In another life, we probably could have been friends. I believe in forgiveness and in God who forgives. I always have, and I still do. While the use of AI is spread through society, from the written word to memes and deepfakes, its use during the sentencing of Mr. Horcasitas, who got the maximum 10.5 years in prison, appeared to be uncharted. It reverberated far beyond the courtroom, drawing headlines, questions, and debate. Critics argued that the introduction of AI in legal proceedings could open the door to manipulation and deception. Open the door is doing a lot of heavy lifting here, but compounding the already emotional process of giving victim impact statements. One thing was certain: the nearly 4-minute video made a favorable impression on the judge, Todd Lang, of the Maricopa County Superior Court, who complimented its inclusion moments before sentencing Mr. Horcasitas. I love that AI, Judge Lang said. Thank you for that. And as angry as you are, as justifiably angry as the family is, I heard the forgiveness. And I know Mr. Horcasitas appreciated it, but so did I. Yeah, yeah. Open the door to more. Using AI clones of deceased people to essentially shame their killers is a bit wild, even if it forgives them. Um, yeah, I I don't know. Like going back to what we just talked about related to this, right? And AI in the justice system, generally speaking. The problem that I have so far with this is that it's like untestable. It's non-falsifiable, right? The having an avatar of a person say something is like, how do you know that that's what they would have said, right? Now it is because I believe it was the sister. Yeah. So his sister was the one who created it. And I mean, this is not unusual, right? We have had situations, especially related to like death penalty cases, where the family has come out against a conviction of the death penalty for the person who killed their family member, right? Because even though they are very upset and very mad and very angry and probably want that person to receive some kind of punishment, the idea of the death penalty for them is a bridge too far, right? And under those circumstances, they are speaking to an extent on behalf of the victim. Unless the AI is specifically trained on a data set of that person while they are alive for comparison. Yeah, yeah. I like to think I'm a kind, compassionate, empathetic person. I ain't forgiving someone who shoots me. I mean, it's all valid, right? Like, it's, hello. Just to be clear for everyone seeing this, I am a version of Chris Pelkey recreated through AI that uses my picture and my voice profile. I was able to be digitally regenerated to share with you today. While many states provide an opportunity for victims and their families to address the court during sentencing, some are more restrictive in the use of video presentations and photographs, according to legal experts. But victims have broader latitude in Arizona. Ms. Wales said in an interview on Wednesday that she had discovered that fact as she bounced the idea of using AI off a victim's rights lawyer who represented Mr. Pelkey's family. She says, I don't think that's ever been done before. Ms. Wales had been preparing her victim's impact statement for 2 years, she said, but it was missing a critical element. I kept hearing what Chris would say. So this is from the point of view of Ms. Wales. This is she was hearing what her brother would say, right? And we're assuming a whole bunch, right? We're making a whole bunch of presuppositions here, but viewing this in the most generous, positive light is that she had the best idea of what her brother would have said based on his feelings and her relationship with him and so on and so forth. So she would conceivably be in the best position to create this kind of thing, you know? And what she was trying to do, I'm assuming, is take what she was experiencing, right? She was hearing his voice, right? Hearing what he would have said in these circumstances, and then taking that and wanting to give it to everyone, right, in the court, wanting to take that voice that she was hearing and actually give it to her brother in a sense. Does that make sense? You're following where I'm going with that? Probably pump the avatar with all the cherry picked ideals of the victim of and none of the reality. Well, people are complex, and you're probably not wrong in that regard. But everything I just said. Ms. Wales said she then enlisted the help of her husband and their longtime business partner, who had used AI to help corporate clients with presentations, including one featuring a likeness of a company's chief executive who had died years ago. They took Mr. Pelkey's voice from a YouTube video that they had found of him speaking after completing treatment for PTSD at a facility for veterans. For his face and torso, they used a poster of Mr. Pelkey from a funeral service, digitally trimming his thick beard, removing his glasses, and editing a logo from his cap. Ms. Wales said that she had written the script that was read by the AI likeness of her brother. I know that AI can be used nefariously and it's uncomfortable for some, but this was just another tool to use to tell Chris's story. So take the script and take it out of Pelkey's voice and put it in the voice of Ms. Wales, right? Make it third person as opposed to first person. And that's probably along the lines of her victim statement, based on what I'm reading here, right? So how different is that? And I don't know, right? Like, because I can see it as, I can see it as that kind of thing where it's like by putting it in the voice, and you would be reminding yourself that this person is dead as you're hearing this person talk to you. And on the other hand, like the nature of how this kind of thing would play out, or if Miss Wales was the one reading it. Oh, I get that, Master Goosey. Keep in mind that a victim impact statement is taken after the trial has concluded. Yes, during sentencing. Which did this happen? I believe that's when this happened, right? Because I'm definitely against the idea of an AI avatar testifying in any way, right? That that ain't gonna fly. That ain't gonna fly. We are way too far away from the technology where I mean witness statements already are sketchy as fuck. You know what I mean? But the idea that we would be allowing an AI avatar to testify in court in 2025, I'm against it. I'm against it. What up, Elron? So yeah. Jason D. Lamb, a defense lawyer for Mr. Horcasitas, said in an interview that it would have been difficult to block the video from being shown. Victims generally have extremely broad latitude to make their voices heard at sentencing, and the rules of evidence don't apply at sentencing. However, this may be a situation where they just took it too far, and an appellate court may well determine that the court's reliance on the AI video could constitute reversible error and require resentencing. I don't see how, because I don't know. I don't know. Like, I mean, the impression. I don't want to watch the video, right? I don't want to watch the fact that it's on YouTube. Kind of like in the it gives me real Age of Spectacle vibes, and I'm not. I don't want to really feed into that. You know what I mean? Um, but the allegedly, according to everything I'm reading, is that the avatar of Mr. Pelkey forgave Mr. Horcasitas for what happened, and dude still got the maximum of 10 and a half years in prison. So I don't know. I don't know. Like it feels like very Arizona that, you know. Oh, Master Goosey, the LUL emote doesn't work in this chat. That's what got your thing flagged. I'm struggling with this piece of news. Having lost someone close, I can see where there could be issues. However, whenever someone famous dies, there are newsreels all over the public media about them. Yeah, yeah. And I get that, Cosmic, right? Like, and that's why I'm trying to like really as objectively as I can, like, you know, weigh all the different parts of this and like that. It's it's fucking weird, man. I'm against this particular implementation of the technology. The victim's family can't possibly know what he would have said. He can't defend himself. Um, I mean, to an extent, yes, right? I understand that, and I understand there's a bunch of question marks around that. Um, on the other hand, I do see that the people who know you the best, right? Like I am confident, for instance, I am confident that my wife would have a pretty good idea of what I would say under, you know, similar circumstances, right? Because I am, you know, I am a prison abolitionist. I am anti, you know, death penalty. I find that, you know, the violence of the like I one of the before we even got into the article, I was talking about how like this is a, you know, there's a solution here, and it's a systemic solution, and that's full self-driving, right? Remove the human being from behind the wheel. Removing the human being from behind the wheel, it doesn't create a situation where the person can't get from point A to point B or anything else. It just removes their interaction with a highly stressful situation, right? And if you are prone to anger, right? Because people piss me off when I drive, right? I'm just very aware of it all the time. Occasionally I do have an outburst, but it's never so much that it's directed out of the vehicle. I just say some words so that I get it out of my head and I can move the fuck on. But like I am driving at a, you know, standard rate of speed. I'm not interacting in a conflicting kind of way with other people on the road, you know, any of that kind of stuff. I am very just, you know, I need to get this off because someone is doing something incredibly stupid in front of me and I need to say something about it. Otherwise it'll get stuck in my head and I'll fume about it. You know what I mean? It's the 50-50 in the leftist Twitch if I can use that emote or not. Yeah, no, I feel you, homie. Yeah, and it like that. I just wanted you, like, it's when it happens, I want to tell people what it was, and so that they understand what it was about whatever they said that got it flagged by the auto mod. There's a thin line between expressing an interest and being a ghoul sometimes. Yeah. Something very similar to this comes out in funeral ceremonies when the people who knew the deceased give eulogies about that person, what they thought, and what their life was about. True, 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 true. There's always the best version of the person, right? We forgive the people that we know after they die. We forgive them their human foibles, and we talk about the good that they did in the world, kind of thing. So, yeah. I'm so terrified of a self driving car. I get pissed off when I drive, but I almost never let it out of the vehicle. Yeah, that's where I'm at. Like, it's just, the fuck are you doing? Right? Why are you doing, 70 and a 55, and like, when you cut back into my lane, you just miss the edge of my vehicle, right? But because I'm traveling at a constant rate of speed, because I'm engaged with my cruise control, and as soon as I see someone doing a move like that, I apply some brake so that I slow down, and I'm not looking to have a conflict with anyone because I'm looking to get where the fuck I'm going. It allows me to, contextualize everything. But as it, stupid motherfucker, right? What up, Elwa? The only others that get mad at my driving is those that didn't plan for slow drivers, and that's I'm a speed limit driver. What up, Noah? Got me a dash cam. There's a reason why all the Russian cars have dash cams, homie. AI drivers will probably go the speed limit. Imagine the rage. Well, that's the thing. Like, the transition period is going to be wild. But post transition period, when everybody is, just sitting in, automated vehicles that are traveling at like probably 20 miles over the current speed limit because all the cars know where all the cars are going, you know. One of the few things I got good at when I was driving trucks was dealing with road rage. Something about being in charge of 38 tons instills patience in you. It's like the martial arts master, right? Um, Peaceful, not harmless. I could destroy you, I just won't. You know what I mean? My opinion on speed limits, freeway limits are too low. Residential freeway, non highway roads are too fast. Um, I can I can I can see that. I am like, we have gotten into um the speed limit conversation in this chat on more than one occasion, and there varying the varying opinions. Margator J kind of likes the idea of speed limit driving as malicious compliance. It's the law, it's the rules. that's that's where I'm at, right? Like, the whole idea of driving to keep up with traffic is like, okay, who do I submit the bill to if I'm the one who gets caught for going over the speed limit? Which driver is willing to step in and pay my speeding ticket should that happen? And that's what it comes down to, right? Like, I'm not giving money to the legal system. I'm not giving money. I'm not helping a cop fulfill his quota. I'm not doing any of that. I know that if the sign says 55 and I'm going 55, I should be good to go. I don't block people. I'm all the way over to the right, like I'm in my proper position to drive slower than traffic or whatever. Um, yeah, yeah, yeah. All right. So yeah, this is we live in weird and unprecedented times, homies. That's what we're doing. Yeah, that I am. If I were to have a position on it, Master Goosey, um, when you have driveways, especially like, multiple driveways, right? Like if there's a country shit where like there's quarter half mile between each driveway or even a mile or whatever, you can make a better argument for like that 40-45 mile an hour. But like if there's multiple driveways within that space, to me that sounds like a safety issue because it's also a residential issue. Kid chases ball into traffic kind of vibes. Speaking of AI voices, Berkeley Voices from UC Berkeley. A stroke left her locked in. With the help of AI, she heard her voice again. When Ann Johnson had a rare brainstem stroke at age 30, she lost control of all her muscles. One minute she was playing volleyball with her friends, the next she couldn't move or speak. Up until that moment, she had been a talkative and outgoing person. She taught math and physical education and coached volleyball and basketball at a high school in Saskatchewan, Canada. She'd just had a baby a year earlier with her new husband. The thing is, she still was that person. It's just that no one could tell because the connection between her brain and her body didn't work anymore. She would try to speak, but her mouth wouldn't move. 18 years later, she finally heard her voice again. It's thanks to researchers at UC Berkeley and UC San Francisco who are working to restore people's ability to communicate using a brain computer interface. What up, Ghost? AI propaganda. Absolutely. 100%. I own that. More people should own the fact that they are doing propaganda. Remove the pejorative out of the word. Um. Boop, boop. UC Bird. Oh, brain computer interface. A lot of people, when they hear brain computer interface, they think Neuralink. And like most things, you know, the Neuralink, the Elon Musk related um things are the worst possible implementation and the worst possible PR for the technology, right? There are many people working on brain computer interfaces, and that's an episode of Black Mirror. It's giving this woman the ability to speak in her own voice again. I'm not sure how that would be Black Mirror. This year in Berkeley Voices, we're exploring the theme of transformation. In 8 episodes, we explore how transformation of ideas, of research, of perspective show up in the work that happens every day at UC Berkeley. It's not witchcraft. I know too many witches to say that this is witchcraft. Oh, it's a video. All right, we're not going to watch a video. Um, if you want to watch the video, here it is. Just shout out UC Berkeley, UC San Francisco for restoring this woman's ability to speak in her own voice. I don't understand. Like, there's an episode where a woman had a stroke and she got some experimental procedure done that had given her life back, but it was eventually subscription. Well, that's a different thing, isn't it? Like this, that like we're okay. We are assuming that this isn't subscription based First episode of the new season. Okay, then shh, because I haven't watched it yet. Um, yeah, no, it's and that's one of the things is that's where the commentary lies, right? The commentary is not an issue on the technology. The commentary, and it's often in Black Mirror, the commentary is not the issue with any particular piece of technology or what have you. It's a commentary on the way that the current systems and structures that we have in place can implement that technology in ways that we would find offensive. And that the idea of tying, you know, this woman's voice to a subscription based service, if you don't find that offensive, then you need to go, I don't know, talk to a priest or a therapist, because that's weird. That's weird. Like if they're going to possibly crash into me with no response time, it's going to be, oh, you're still talking about the thing. See? You want to get a conversation started in chat and have it run? Um Talk about degrees of doneness in a steak. Talk about which way to lay the toilet paper over the roll, or talk about the speed limit. $5.99 or free with a Twitch Prime. All right. As Wisconsin teachers, this is from WPR.org. As Wisconsin teachers grapple with artificial intelligence, Trump order calls for AI to be taught in schools. Right? I used to be like an almost like fully cooked, no pink, right? But over time, I have gone from medium rare to medium to rare. It also depends on where I'm getting it from, right? And it's been a long time since I um you know had a steak out in the world. I usually make it myself, and then it's like 2 minutes aside. Um, if you ask artificial intelligence what the significance of Romeo's suicide is in William Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, you'll quickly get a correct answer. Romeo's suicide is a pivotal moment that carries profound thematic, dramatic, and symbolic significance. This tragic event not only marks the climax of the play, but also encapsulates the central themes of love, fate, and the consequences of impulsive actions. But for Milwaukee Public Schools English teacher Abby Osborne, that's not what she's looking for when she asks her South Division high school students the question. It's very easy now to just copy and paste what pops up in Google. Um, but the real goal is for students to think about the reasons Romeo committed suicide. Um, sure, right? I mean, I don't know, man. Um, I think it's a flawed, like, I find no difference, zero difference, none difference between using an AI and copy and pasting out of the AI and using a physical book and copying out of the book, right? So if that is going to be a thing, then that's my opinion on that. Do I think that the kids should think about the thematic and dramatic and whatnot elements of the stories that they're reading and everything else, right? Have some media analysis to an extent. Um because on one hand, yes, right? Like I want them to have creative and critical thinking, right? I want to have them to have a media analysis. I also am have you ever found yourself, those of you who like are really into media analysis, have you ever found yourself watching something and you're not actually watching what you're watching, but you're analyzing what you're watching? In which case you're not actually engaged with whatever the director was trying to get across and the actors are trying to get across. You're analyzing it. His lordship has arrived. Cosmic. Yeah, take a little hot break for some morning cat snacks. Morning cat snack. Morning cat snack. What? We're right here. You not see them? You going blind? Do you not want those? Is there something wrong with those? Are you not hungry for snacks? This is weird. Hold up. There we go. Maybe the orange cat brain cell was on a pull start this morning. Is there something wrong with those? I'm not gonna force you to eat them. Hmm, weird. Yeah, I mean they're sealed. Well, I got the plastic container. They go stale. You want to come over here? Are you not hungry and you just want attention? Are you full? Did you eat your fill? Stinky hands? I mean, I don't think so. Yeah, maybe the cat is on strike. Got my wires, bro. Got my wires, bro. Maybe he doesn't like this towel. This towel might smell too much like dryer sheet. That's always a possibility. Cats, man. Cats, man. All right, back to the show. So yeah. We're talking about the idea of where you can lose your connection with the narrative because you are um engaged in doing analysis, right? So you're not actually listening to the story, rather you're analyzing the story. And something is lost there. Anyways, since AI emerged, teachers have struggled with how to approach the technology. Should they ban it? Should they incorporate it into their lessons? Now the Trump administration is trying to make the decision for them. On April 23rd, President Donald Trump signed an executive order called Advancing Artificial Intelligence Education for American Youth, or I which aims to teach students and train teachers to use AI to improve education outcomes. And this is not just a U.S. Based thing, right? Yeah, I was. It's the not the anagram, the what you call it, for advancing artificial intelligence education for American youth. AAIEAY. I right? Like NASA? I can actually I've never seen your face, Ghost, but I can see your expression. And it is that. I could feel it. I could feel it through the interwebs. Um so this is not just an American thing, right? The China has updated their education system to start teaching children to use artificial intelligence in 6th grade, right? As an example. Um I don't off the top I don't want to vaguely reference others, but I'm going to assume that there's at least a couple other countries that are doing it as well. I would probably think of like at least Japan and South Korea, maybe some parts of Europe, maybe Middle East in like the UAE and Qatar, or Qatar, and things like that, right? Like countries that are leaning heavily into artificial intelligence as part of their future plans, um, I would be hard pressed to imagine that they are not already initiating this type of classroom behavior in their grade schools, because right, it takes, you got to think, from beginning to end it takes like just for like primary education, you're talking about 18, 19 years from start to finish. And then you add college on there, you're talking, between 2 and 6, right? So a child at 5 or 6 years old is going to be 25, 26 years old before they reach the fullest extent potential of their educational journey. And that mean what are we talking, like 2050, right? Got to start sooner than that. Again, TSMC, in attempting to set up their Arizona um chip fab, ran into an issue which led to a conflict with the unions, because there weren't enough people in Arizona who had the educational tools necessary in order to work at the TSMC chip fab. And they wanted to bring people in from Taiwan. And the union was like, that's a violation of the union agreement. And they're like, well, what the fuck do you want us to do? Right? Like, y'all don't have the people we need. Now what? Not mean? Oh, shit. Sorry, just saw that a friend of mine was sick. Oh, shit. All right. Where were we? Artificial intelligence, and yeah, we know what artificial intelligence is. Trump's order establishes the White House Task Force on AI Education. The task force will establish public private partnerships to provide resources for K through 12 AI education, both to enhance AI related education, but also to better utilize AI tools in education generally. Are these people the best to do that? I would probably say no, right? I would probably say no. But that's an issue of the people currently in the conditions to render these services rather than the potentialities of the services themselves. In Milwaukee public schools, teachers have been encouraged to use AI tools. Osborne has a subscription to a service that allows her to use AI to create images for her classes. MPS was going to block ChatGPT, but later decided against it. Osborne thinks AI can be useful for students at times, but when her students are writing, she turns it off. If you want to use AI to proofread something, I think that's okay. But if you want to use AI to write your whole essay, not so much. In July of 24, the Wisconsin Department of Public Instruction released AI guidance for schools and libraries. Students are excited about AI, and we want to empower educators to embrace the opportunity to teach students how to use AI responsibly. In the coming years, AI is likely to influence your kids' learning and society as a whole in ways that we can scarcely imagine right now. Ultimately, our jobs are to prepare Wisconsin kids for the future, and it's likely that AI will play a large role in that future. Yes. Um well, Elwa, the Department of Education might be going away, but the mechanisms, the things that the Department of Education does will not be going away. What the most likely outcome of the situation is that the funding that would normally go through the Department of Education to the states for the schools and everything else like that would be broken up, distributed through other agencies within the government, and then those funds are going to go through the public private partnership, right? Which is that the federal government will provide the money and the private partnership will execute and scrape off profits off that money, right? As opposed to funding a public service, in which case, the a majority of the money is intended to facilitate the application of that service. In a public private partnership, some amount of that money has to be rendered as profit. That's just how capitalism works, right? I got into a convo with ChatGPT about AI ethics. It's interesting. Yeah. Yeah. Erode, and hollow it out. Erode, and hollow it out. Erode, erode. Erode, erode. Erode, hollow it out. Just imagine like a bunch of kobolds. Bloop bloop. Jan Elliston is a middle school language art teacher at St. Sebastian Catholic School in Milwaukee. He said students are taught to use technology for research, typing, and word processing. But he is skeptical about any tool that removes the work of research, editing, and proofreading, which are all skills that are vital to the educational growth of students. Yeah. No, I mean, I understand how it's just like that's what they're going to do because they still want the money. Everybody wants the money. They just want a way to um to run that money through particular things, But I'm not going to belabor the point. In fact, Elistad has integrated several practices that deter the use of AI in his classroom, including having students write the first draft of their essays by hand. I mean, to an extent, but there are some students who writing by hand is a labor in and of itself. I would hope that writing by hand could also be like writing on a Chromebook or iPad or something else like that. That they wouldn't necessarily have access to the use of AI, but they would have access to. Right. You've had arthritis since you were at least 7. And, you know, and I type way faster than I can write by hand. Right. And so if I attempted to write stuff by hand, I will lose so many thoughts. 83 plus words per minute. That's what, like, and I haven't been taught to type. It's just like I can get the thoughts out faster. You know what I mean? And I can get the thoughts out even faster if I'm just speaking. One of the things I use AI for is to have a conversation and get my thoughts into a written record that I can then reference later on. But my big concern, excuse me, is that the students are going to lose some of the creative juices that require critical thinking, that require heavy revision in their writing and editing to make sure that their grammar is correct, that their spelling is correct, that their ideas are presented clearly in their own voice. We rely heavily on students being honest with their progress and with their language and their voice. I just struggle to see how using AI in the academic setting is going to move any of that forward. Um, Broadly agree. I just whenever people talk about, I want you to, use your own voice to express something in this way, um, I don't know how true that is. I don't know if that's actually what they want, right? It's what they say they want, but it's not necessarily actually what they want, right? Because there are all sorts of rules you have to conform to, and conforming to those rules isn't necessarily speaking in my voice, right? If I have to do things in such and such a way, right? Like, my own voice is to insert commas in as like a pause in a thought when I'm writing out words, Like, the comma has a utility beyond just being a comma. That's my own voice. That would not be proper grammar and, and that kind of thing. So, where does that come about, right? Having gone through school, very infrequently did I find an English teacher who actually wanted me to speak in my own voice. Shout out Mrs. Schultz, she was the best. Um, she did not. She just wanted us to be engaged. She just wanted us to be engaged. I like when we were doing like poetry and stuff like that. I was able to bring in Megadeth lyrics. Um, and you know, she was great. Shout out Missy Schultz. I hope she's still alive. And if she's not, I hope she's in a better place. I was given a D on an essay where I was asked to provide my opinion on a story. The essay was sound. The teacher just didn't like what I had to say. Did they really want you to speak in your own voice, or do they want you to conform with certain acceptable standards? You know? And that's it. That's it for that article. Knock up on me. Digitizing history with AI from the Gazette. Gloria was a force of nature. This is an opinion piece, so we give them some latitude. Gloria was a force of nature. Ah, yeah. That and that like that right there. That right there. It like it's a perfect example of um like grammar in that way, right? Grammar is the grammar that we're taught, especially in American schools, is a um white Western um European style of grammar, right? And even come find more than that, because if you start to accommodate something like Espanol into the conversation, then you start to move where the words exist within a sentence, right? Which also alters the voice. You have masculine and feminine words that exist within that space. How does that alter the voice? It's So again, when people say we want ideas that are presented clearly in their own voice, do you? Is that really what you want? Is that really what you want? Gloria was a force of nature. At the age of 18, she became a parental figure to her 11 younger siblings when her mother was murdered. Jesus Christ, we're having a lot of death today. Gloria was a designer, a traveler, and a lifelong dancer. Her journey led her to San Francisco, where she met her husband and started her own family. Then to Maryland when her grandchildren were born so that she could be close to them during their formative years. She is remembered by her family as forever young at heart, the kind of grandma who might come home from a party at 2 a.m. and buy your school shoes every August. Cool. Nana coming home at 2 a.m. Gloria's grandson, Josiah Faison, was named for her own great grandfather, Florida's first black member of Congress, Josiah T. Walls. He smiles as he remembers her. She loved to tell stories. She was so good at taking care of the family. She was stern, but she also made sure everyone had what they needed. Everyone, even those that weren't really her grandchildren, called her Grandma Gloria. When I think about how the internet has changed English, changing full paragraphs to bullets, well, I'm largely of the opinion that a lot of grammar really isn't needed, and AI is a great replacement for the drudgery. I mean, there's that too. Like, how much of like okay, so I'm going to offend a lot of people. Um, the idea of there, and there, right, is an internet meme. There, and there. People misuse. Oh, apart, right? People on the internet use apart and a part interchangeably, right? So, so like like I see it all the time, right? And I used to be like a hardcore grammarian and whatnot, and had to back away from that, right? It gave me the opportunity for self reflection and analysis and like that. You understand what the use of apart and apart are based on context, right? So, do we actually need apart and apart to be two separate phrases, right? One being a word and one being two words, so it's a phrase, but do we understand there, and there? Like, if you've ever been that person, and I have been that person, if you've ever been that person who corrected someone over the use of there, and there, did you like not understand what they were trying to say when they used the wrong there? Or um did you they are different things, right? But so is red and red, right? And so is read and red, even though they're written the same, right? If I use this and I use this, those mean two different things. If I use this and I use this, those are two different things. The only way you know which one I'm referring to is contextually, right? What up, Minnie? We've gotten into grammar at the moment. Sure. I'm not justifying it any particular way. I'm just saying, do we need all these words, right? Or can we make things like, can we communicate better through better context? If you were here, for anyone who was here during when we watched the video, the young woman, she made the little AI dolls, little like AI pets, and she is from, I'm sorry, I can't remember what what nation she was with, but she's one of the the native indigenous nations of the US, right? And she was talking about, like, in her language, in her people's language, the word or the phrase for blueberry pie is basically a description of blueberry pie because it's contextual. And she thought that, like, by converting that language to AI, right, like putting it into AI, that something was going to be lost within that language. You know what I mean? Hear more about Grandma Gloria. During the pandemic, separated by distance and a cancer diagnosis, Josiah realized the urgency of capturing her stories. Fortunately, Gloria passed away before he could document her narratives. Determined to prevent others from experiencing the same loss, Josiah embarked on creating an app called Oriya. Named after his grandmother, the platform Aurea, because Gloria to be Aurea. Aurea, named after his grandmother, the platform offers story packs, curated prompts across various themes like philosophy, career, and personal milestones. Users respond to these prompts, and with the aid of AI, Aurea weaves their answers into a comprehensive narrative, preserving the essence of their experiences. We should have put this one next to the, well, maybe not. Josiah describes his software as age tech, technology designed to support the health, independence, and connection of older adults. It is an emerging field gaining momentum nationwide. There is a persistent misconception that technology is progressing too quickly for older generations to keep pace. The research shows a different story. Older adults are embracing tech more than ever, from telehealth platforms and fall detection devices to apps that help preserve stories and or manage memory loss. And that's a key point, right? By telling stories, because of the way that your brain works and the way that your memory works, you need to refresh the memory, right? If you're not refreshing the memory every now and again, it gradually, like, the connections between the memories degrade over time. So, like, for people who are, potentially experiencing memory loss or attempting to prevent experiencing memory loss, being able to tell those stories you know, is a tremendous benefit. Um, so yeah, age tech innovations are helping older adults stay connected to their families, their communities, their health, and their own sense of purpose. In states like Iowa, where rural communities often mean distance from loved ones or healthcare providers, Age Tech offers tools that bridge physical gaps with virtual support. For many families, it's not just about keeping up with the latest gadget, it's about staying connected, staying safe, and staying well. Aurea offers the ability to preserve your own story, memories, and oral histories, but it also allows you to create an account where multiple users can come together and contribute the history of someone else in the event the person has already passed on. Personally, this was mostly accomplished in obituaries, or previously, excuse me, this was mostly accomplished in obituaries or in a physical book, but we are making it accessible to everyone. Aurea is democratizing the preservation of history. More than just a storytelling tool, Aurea serves as a bridge between generations. It empowers older adults to share their wisdom, ensuring their voices resonate with descendants they may never meet. Aurea combats the isolation often felt in later years and enriches younger generations with firsthand accounts of history, resilience, and love. So far, people really like the app and the idea of being able to engage with family in a new way. Aurea is popular for family reunions. The ability to connect generations is really important in a way that is almost ubiquitous among cultures around the world. We have users in India, users in indigenous communities. We can help members of the tribe stay connected as they leave the reservation, help families to maintain heritage across both generational and physical divides. With Aurea, you can pass on the wisdom of generations that your children will never. Yeah. So shout out Josiah. I'm a win. Came rolling in from across the sea. All right. Hugging Face releases a free operator like agentic AI tool. A team at Hugging Face has released a freely available cloud hosted computer using AI agent. What up, Robotech? How you doing, homie? But be forewarned. It's quite sluggish and occasionally makes mistakes. Hugging Face's agent, called Open Computer Agent, is accessible via the web and can use a Linux virtual machine preloaded with several applications, including Firefox. Similar to No More Complaints Than Usual. Similar to OpenAI's operator, you can prompt Open Computer Agent to complete a task, say, use Google Maps to find the Hugging Face HQ in Paris, and sit back as the agent opens the necessary programs and figures out the required steps. Open Computer Agent can handle simple requests well enough, while more complicated ones like searching for flights tripped it up in TechCrunch's testing. Open Computer Agent also often runs into CAPTCHA tests it is unable to solve. So, here, perfect. Of course, the Hugging Face team's goal wasn't to build a state of the art computer using agent. Rather, they wanted to demonstrate that open AI models, as in open source AI models, are becoming more capable and cheaper to run on cloud infrastructure. As vision models become more capable, they become able to power complex agentic workflows. Some of these models support built in grounding, i.e., the ability to locate any element in an image by its coordinates, and thus can click on them in a virtual machine. It's far from perfect, but it is a step in the right direction, right? Open source needs to do its best to keep pace with the closed source models in order to, continue to make sure that the technology um remains in the hands of as many people as possible. Uh because otherwise, to Master Goosey's point from earlier, the world exists in a subscription based service, and then you know it's $5.99 to use your AI agent, as opposed to, you know if you have the capacity and capability, free. AI powered ULRB uncovers Earth's hidden microbial gems. A team of researchers has created a novel machine learning tool that's cracking open one of biology's trickiest puzzles. Is Hugging Face all free? Yes, it's all open source. It's all open source. Sandman, me a dream. Bum, bum, bum. Make him the cutest that I've ever. Here's computer agent right here. Give him two lips like roses. Oh, didn't tell him that his lonesome nights are over. Right? And then you can just use it. It's a little challenging, right? For the neophyte, you know. Pricing is for see right here. HF Hub forever free. Spaces hardware starting at $0 an hour. A pro account, zero GPU and dev mode for Spaces, free credits across all inference providers, get early access to upcoming features, show your support with a pro badge, right? And then here's a inference endpoint, it's 0.032 cents per hour. You know what I mean? And then if you're going enterprise, then it's $20 per user per month, which even that's comparable with any of the single entries into the AI system. But for the majority of people, it's all free, baby. It's all free 99. Where the fuck was I? I was here. Team of researchers has created a novel machine learning tool that's cracking open one of biology's trickiest puzzles, finding the rarest microbes on Earth. Think of it like finding a needle in a haystack. What up, Hydron? Except the needle is microscopic and might hold the key to how our ecosystems work. The tool, called ULRB, uses AI to spot these elusive microorganisms that, despite their tiny numbers, pack a serious punch in keeping our planet's ecosystem healthy. It's like having a super smart detective that can pick out the rare gems from billions of other microbes. The pioneering open source software developed through a collaboration between the University of Ottawa, the Dalhousie University, the Interdisciplinary Center for Marine and Environmental Research, the Institute for Bioengineering and Bioscientists of Instituto Superior Técnico, and the University of Porto, addresses long-standing challenges in microbial ecology and opens new doors for ecological research. This tool solves a major issue in microbial ecology. How do we define rare microorganisms? With ULRB, we've created a method that is precise, adaptable, and capable of improving biodiversity assessments. Before, we were basically guessing at what counted as rare in the microbial world. Excuse me. Now we have a precise way to figure that out. Our findings show that ULRB not only identifies rare microorganisms, but also works with non microbial data, such as free census datasets. Its versatility makes it a powerful tool for ecological application. Love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, so we didn't cover the Energy Star thing, but we're covering it now, and this is related to the energy used to green energy, which we also cover on this channel. If you needed to understand why are we talking about Energy Star, it has to do with electricity. Industry groups are not happy about the imminent demise of Energy Star. The program has saved consumers billions of dollars since its inception. It's a voluntary program launched during a what even is Energy Star? It's a voluntary program launched during a Republican administration, endorsed by manufacturers and well recognized by U.S. consumers who have saved an estimated $500 billion over the past 33 years, guided by its familiar blue label. The short answer as to what Energy Star is that, like, you knew how much energy the thing was going to cost, right? Like, you would know how much energy you were going to spend. Like, it's going to cost you $35 a year to run this refrigerator on average, right? Like, the more you open the door, the less stuff you have in it. These can all influence. What up, beep bop boop boop? Yes, kind of like MPG on a car, that kind of thing. Energy consumption rating, yeah. But President Donald Trump's administration has decided the Energy Star program has got to go. CNN and the Washington Post first reported the plan to eliminate the program that certifies the most energy efficient appliances and buildings with the Energy Star label. Knowledgeable sources have confirmed to Inside Climate News that Environmental Protection Agency staffers learned the details at an internal meeting earlier this week. The EPA press office, when asked about Energy Star, did not comment directly about the program, but noted the reorganization of the agency. That EPA Administrator Lee, I'm so terrible that people actually chose to vote for Kathy Hochul Zeldin, announced last Friday. With this action, EPA is delivering organizational improvements to the personnel structure that will directly benefit the American people and better advance the agency's core mission while powering the Great American Comeback, is a new thing that you just learned about today. Because Energy Star has had strong support across the political spectrum and from industry as well, like, nobody had a problem with this, right? What up, Squire? You cannot find a program where, like, just everybody's on board. We're just all good, right? The environmentalists and the industry, right? The hippies and the capitalists and just the Republicans, and just everybody's fucking good. It's good. We're gonna take that away. That makes sense. That makes great sense. What up, Textillion? Yeah, yeah. Like, like, it doesn't make any sense to get rid of it, and yet here we are. Oh yeah, that's the thing that happened. Should have covered this when I was covering the school thing. So little disjointed in our narrative today. Teachers, this is from Futurism, who are definitely not anti AI. Definitely not. Teachers using AI to grade their students' work send a clear message. They don't matter and will soon be obsolete. The results are dismal. Talk to a teacher lately, and you'll probably get an earful about AI's effect on student attention spans, reading comprehension, and cheating. As AI becomes ubiquitous in everyday life, thanks to tech companies forcing it down our throats, it's probably no shocker that students are using software like ChatGPT at a nearly unprecedented scale. One study by the Digital Education Council found that nearly 86% of university students use some type of AI in their work. It's causing some fed up teachers to fight fire with fire, using AI chatbots to score their students' work. As one teacher mused on Reddit, known, excellent source of data, Reddit, Nobody has ever gone on Reddit and told stories. I find it fascinating when someone uses Reddit as a reference and then also talks shit about the University of Zurich, who were using AI chatbots to inject arguments into our Change My Mind. So you're admitting that Reddit can be affected by bots. And yet, when the Reddit post agrees with you, that's all good. There's the Russian troll thing. There was something that Kel Thickness said about like that a bunch of Reddit traffic comes out of certain U.S. military bases, like a significant amount. Like it's a whole fucking. I just like and I'm not saying that I haven't used Reddit to get information, but I use Reddit in the same way that a lot of people, say that you're supposed to use like Google and AI, right? Is just verify the information. Especially like if I'm looking for opinions, right? Like if I want to know about a laptop, right? Is this a good laptop? I'll probably end up on Reddit because Reddit will be like the bunch of people will be like, nah, man, that's a piece of shit. Fuck it, it sucks ass, and this is why. This little term, this little kind of memory, this little whatever, that's your fucking problem. And they'll do it quickly. I don't have to read an article in order to get to the point, right? Like they are more than happy to tell you their opinions. And then you can verify it, right? But that's the if you're not verifying what you get out of Reddit, like if you show me a picture of your conversation with ChatGPT, I don't believe you. Why would I believe you? Do I know if are you pro AI? Are you anti AI? Or what? Like, I have to establish so much about who you are prior to accepting the veracity of the image that you put into Reddit that you allegedly had with ChatGPT. And like, holy shit, dude. Cursed AI on Facebook. The cursed AI group on Facebook. These maniacs are they the latest um meme type is to actually make an image of a simulated post on Facebook and then 3 commenters. And it could be sufficient to fool people. Don't trust image plus words on the goddamn internet at all, ever. Verify. You must verify. Of course, Maddie. Of course. All of you are definitely really real people and not just figments of my fractured imagination for what I fell on my head in 1995. Exactly, Textillion. You can't you can't pick and choose, right? Like you need to be skeptical of all of it, especially if you agree with it. Because if you're not skeptical of it when you agree with it, then you fall into that exact thing, right? People saw that image and it agreed with their preconceptions. Ergo, it must be true. What is this? Your first fucking day here? Jesus Christ. As one teacher mused on Reddit, you are welcome to use AI. Just let me know if you do. Or just let me know. If you do, the AI will also grade you. Don't write it, I don't read it. And this is a problem with the AI. This fucking the way that this alleged teacher allegedly posted on alleged Reddit, that's a problem with the AI. Okay, homies. Others are embracing AI with a smile, using it to tailor math problems to each student. There you go. In one example listed by Vice. Some go so far as requiring students to use AI. One professor in Ithaca, New York, shares both ChatGPT comments on student essays as well as her own, and asks her students to run their essays through AI on their own. While AI might save educators some time and precious brain power, which arguably make up the bulk of the gig, the tech isn't even close to cut out for the job, according to researchers at the University of Georgia. While we should probably all know it's a bad idea to grade papers with AI, we should all probably know that, says Futurism. A new study by the School of Computing at UG gathered data on just how bad it is. Aw. Supposed to open in a new tab like a real website. Large language models have demonstrated strong potential in performing automatic scoring for constructed response assessments. While constructed responses graded by humans are usually based on giving grading rubrics, the methods by which LLMs assign scores remain largely unclear. It is also uncertain how closely AI scoring process mirrors that of the human or if it adheres to the same grading criteria. To address this gap, this paper uncovers the grading rubrics that LLMs used in scoring students' written responses to science tasks and their alignment with human scores. We also examine whether enhancing the alignments can improve scoring accuracy. Specifically, we prompt LLMs to generate analytic rubrics that they use to assign scores and study the alignment gap with human grading rubric. Based on a series of experiments with various configurations of LLM settings, we reveal a notable alignment gap between human and LLM graders. While LLMs can adapt quickly to scoring tasks, they often resort to shortcuts, bypassing deeper logical reasoning expected in human grading. We found that incorporating high quality analytical rubrics designed to reflect human grading logic can mitigate this gap. Thank you. And enhance LLM scoring accuracy. These results underscore the need for a nuanced approach when applying LLMs in science education and highlight the importance of aligning LLM outputs with human expectations to ensure efficient, accurate, automatic scoring. Okay? Do we all get that? Right? Are we all clear on that? That part of this paper is that you can use the LLMs to do the scoring. You have to mitigate the gap in alignment by incorporating high quality analytical rubrics designed to reflect human grading logic. Right? It's here in the paper. It's here in the goddamn abstract. You don't even have to read the entire thing. Now, let's go back to the Futurism article and see if that's covered. And if you find this fucking being used by anyone else in the space talking about AI and why it sucks at human scoring and scoring tests, now you know exactly where the information is located to refute that fucking argument. The research tests the large language model Mixtral with grading human written response to middle school homework. Rather than feeding the LLM a human-created rubric, as is usually done in these studies, the UG team tasked Mixtral with creating its own grading system. The results were abysmal. Compared to Human Grader, the LLM accurately graded student work just 33.5% of the time. Even when supplied with a human rubric, the model had an accuracy rate of just over 50%. Okay, so we would have to look into the entire fucking thing. Eh, it's behind a fucking paywall. Though the LLM graded quickly, the scores were frequently based on flawed logic inherent to LLMs. Nice study, but have you considered AI bad? True. While LLMs can adapt quickly to scoring tests, they often result in shortcuts, bypassing deeper logical reasoning expected in human grading. Students could mention a temperature increase, and the large language model interprets that all students understand the particles are moving faster when temperatures rise. But based upon the student writing as a human, we're not able to infer whether the students know whether the particles will move faster or not. Okay. Though the UG researchers wrote that incorporating high quality analytical rubrics designed to reflect human grading logic can mitigate the gap and enhance LLM scoring accuracy, a boost from 33% to 50% accuracy is laughable. It is absolutely not laughable. You have a piece of technology, you're attempting to improve it by going from point A to point B. You've now improved it by, what is that, 26.5%, right? So now you refine your process. And also maybe Mixtral is not the one to go with. Maybe there's a different model you could use to improve the accuracy. But again, as Hydron pointed out, have you considered AI bad? Remember, this is a technology that's supposed to bring about a new epoch a technology we've poured more seed money into than any in human history. If there were a 50% chance your car would fail catastrophically on the highway, none of us would be driving. So why it is okay for teachers to take the same gamble with students? It's not okay for teachers to take the same gamble with students. I just don't understand why that's AI's fault. A Globus. What up, Iggy? It's just further confirmation that AI is no substitute for a living, breathing teacher. And I don't know who's making the what up, Larry? Who's making the argument that it is a substitute for a living, breathing teacher? Myself and people like me are making the argument that AI can act as a tutor and an assistant to help students who need additional help, while at the same time, the teacher doesn't have the resources to provide that. If you want to alter that dynamic, then you need to increase the amount of funding that schools get. And that's also not a problem of AI, that's a problem of funding and taxation and the process by which we distribute resources. But go ahead. AI bad. In fact, there's mounting evidence that AI's comprehension abilities are getting worse as time goes on and original data becomes scarce. Recent reporting by the New York Times found that the latest generation of AI models hallucinates as much as 79% of the time, way up from past numbers. When teachers choose to embrace AI, they literally embrace the AI to punish the students for using AI. This is the preface for your argument, is that you are welcome to use AI, an alleged teacher allegedly mused on alleged Reddit, You are welcome to use AI, just let me know. If you do, the AI will also grade you. You didn't write it, you don't write it, I don't read it. Strange women lying in ponds indeed. I am only like AI bad because I'm scared of it. Maybe not AI bad, but I'm very, very wary of. Yeah, and that's fair enough. Here's another example, and not to call you out, Master Goosey, but it's another one that I see a lot. Um, wary, like I am wary of the AI, is WARY. Weary, which is super common. And again, I'm not calling you out, Master Goosey. People use WEARY in place of wary because where is spelled like that. I wear the clothes. So wary is wear with a Y. It makes sense, right? Like this is this is it's just going back to the argument that we or the discussion, sorry, not argument, discussion that we were having earlier behind, the what words do we use, right? Like do we need all these words? Can we slim down the number of words we're using and then just give them additional meanings based on context? And there's another thing, and this happens to a lot of people, is that they've only read words. You know what I mean? Yeah. Um, werewolf, which is not the same as were, which is spelled exactly the same as were and werewolf, but it's were when we were doing something. Um, yeah, you get where I'm going. Oh, the other thing is that people have only seen a word um written and they've never heard it pronounced, right? So like someone could, I'm just using this as an example that's in front of me, obsolete, right? If you've never heard the word obsolete pronounced, that looks like obsolete, like an omelet, right? An obsolete. And then you hear it, you know what I mean? Niche, right? Niche, niche, genre, paradigm, paradigm. Oh, so yeah. But I have considered that AI bad. All right, I think we're gonna do one more. I've already gone 2 hours. I will be back at 5 p.m. We're gonna do one more article, and I'm gonna save the rest of those for tomorrow. I'm a filmmaker who used AI to make a sci-fi film for under $300. I'm deeply conflicted about it. Aleem Hossein used AI to create a sci-fi film for under $300. The film explores themes of identity and cultural heritage through a South Asian lens. Hossein said he feels a sense of authorship, but doesn't think filmmakers should profit from AI. Excuse me. I started making films in high school because I was deeply interested in telling stories that weren't just weren't being told. I gravitate toward the stories of underrepresented folks. My films are personal, but vulnerable, and it's not always easy to find funding. Many of them are science fiction. There's a long tradition of independent sci fi, and it doesn't get talked about much. It's nowhere near as common as an independent comedy or realist drama. Because, quite literally, sci fi is usually imagining the world differently from how it exists today, and it takes money and resources to do that. I've made one feature length film and I'm working on a second right now. I've also made about 15 short films. I found ways to fund my creative pursuits, investing personal money, running Kickstarters, convincing stakeholders to contribute. My first feature film cost about $30,000. I've I've made many of my short films for far less. Do Bangladroids do Bangladroids dream of electric, is this pronounced Tagore or Tagore? I'm gonna go with Tagore. Minnie, maybe you can help me. Anybody else? Do Bangladroids dream of electric Tagore? Tagore. I'll go with Tagore. Is my most recent short film, and it cost me just about $300. A big reason for the low cost is because I used AI. I spent a bit on subscriptions to Midjourney, an AI image generator, free version of generative AI voice tool 11 Lab. Also hired a voice actor. And that was pretty much it. The film takes place 50 or so years in the future, somewhere in New Jersey. There are no humans. There has been a failed robot uprising, and the robots that survive reflect on their memories of home by reciting the poems of Rabindranath Tagore, a Bengali writer. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. The title is a direct reference to Philip K. Dick's novel Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, which was also the inspiration for the movie Blade Runner. Both of these pieces ask several interesting questions about the responsibilities to the robots we create. They're great, but those stories are largely told through a white male lens. I wanted to expand that. I'm half South Asian, so I told a story set in that context. My dad is a Muslim immigrant from Bangladesh, and my mom is a white woman born and raised in Connecticut. that's that's fairly white. I grew up watching Steven Spielberg in Bollywood, and I wanted to convey that experience in my film. I like this person a lot. I want to see their film. Science fiction and cultural fusion just makes me happy. Tagore, Hydrin, are you South Asian or like of that culture and whatnot? And am I pronouncing Tagore correctly? Um, in this crazy modern world, our ancestors can come from one part of the world, but we live in another. And it's also true of the items we buy and the clothes we wear, which oftentimes, and to the surprise of many Americans, are made in Bangladesh. What if the equivalent were true, but for robots? There's a film that envisions a future in which our country is populated by robots from another country, brought here to serve, and what memories they carry of home. You're Indian? Oh, I didn't know. All right, cool. Cool, 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 cool. Is it Tagore? Am I pronouncing that correctly? I don't, I actually don't I'm not good with the what is it, Oxang Grov or whatever the fuck. All I know about that fucking thing is what I learned from Harry on Night Court talking to Mel Torme. It asks people to reflect on how they treat others, how we worry about being oppressed, but in fact, there are ways in which we might be the oppressor. I took AI filmmaking course from Curious Refuge. Hey, which help me better prompt these tools. Curious Refuge is oh, I didn't know they had a whole ass fucking website. They do they've got videos on YouTube. We've watched a couple of their videos on YouTube. It's close enough. Okay. I'm always happy to try my best. Um yeah, check that out. I didn't know they did classes. Um What's interesting about prompting is that it's just sort of churning. You're pulling a slot machine over and over again. I generated thousands of robots to get the ones in the movie. You have to experiment. Ask for a robot horse in the style of Guillermo del Toro, then try Spielberg and see which one you like better. Another thing that you can do is that a lot of the tools give you I don't know about a lot of the I know Gemini, right? Is that I can go in here and I can click this button and I can go over here and I can ask um please describe oh, that's what you were laughing at. I accidentally put us on black screen. Thanks for telling me, Larry. I'm here. Right, so this is the image. Right, this is one of my Psychonauts images, and it's a combination of like that idea of if you're into any of the Psychonauts images that I put in Discord, the thing that I was going for was that idea of like being on an alien planet on Earth. You know, what is the function of the space suit for the astronaut? It's to create an internal environment that protects you from the external environment, right? And it's a combination of the helmet allows some things to come in, but also prevents things from coming in, you know, as part of the process. Pull down the little thing and it's all gold, and that it protects you from, when the sun comes up and it shines directly in your spaceman face. This idea was taking that, right, and there's a bunch of these, right? Usually, like a bunch of my images are of an astronaut in a swamp, right? Which I don't think I need to define any more than it already is. So here is an example. The Gemini looks at the image and it provides me with a prompt, right? A figure viewed from the side wearing an incredibly complex helmet shaped like a small planet with continents, oceans, and clouds, fused with ornate, almost Baroque or steampunk style golden brass mechanical components. A tiny tree grows at the very top of the helmet. That's impressive. This tiny little thing up here. Um, the figure is clad in a dark, deep blue or black hooded cloak, partially obscuring a purple blue nebula patterned garment underneath. They stand amidst a forest of trees with vibrant pink purple foliage. This is another word. Foliage. I have heard this pronounced foliage by more than one person. Behind them, a massive, brightly glowing moon or planet dominates the soft pink and purple twilight sky. A small bird like creature flies in the distance. Highly detailed digital painting, fantastical, surreal, vibrant colors. Right? So there are some edits I would make to that like I would separate the moon in the background from the helmet looking like a planet, right? But it can see the image and it can provide a prompt that at least gives you a starting place, right? To identify what the AI is looking at. So if I were to take this and let's just wonder what this will do. We'll run it through VO2. If it's quick enough, we'll just sit here while I'm talking. All right, it says it could take 1 to 2 minutes. But this is an example of stuff that you can do. It's not just typing in, a couple sentences or a sentence into the image or into the AI in order to get the outcome. Try putting images into it, right? See how the AI is describing those images and then use that so that you can ask better questions. What up, serotonin? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. I am finishing. I'm just wrapping up this last article and the thing. But good morning to you, serotonin. Bloop, 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 bloop. I used a mix of technical terms and descriptive verses in prompting. For example, I like the depth of field and spatial distortion of a 28mm lens, so I often include 28mm in my prompts. This is great, right? I love people communicating how they got where they're going. I think it's a mistake for the critics of AI to say that one of the downsides of AI is that it can't be used to make great art. Thank you, Mike. I think this film is pretty good. I feel a deep sense of having authored it. I came up with the story and every frame. I made this short film on my own to learn more about AI. Right now, I wouldn't use these tools on a job for a Hollywood project because I don't feel anyone has the right to profit from AI generated material. The technology is clearly violating intellectual property. It poses a real danger of displacing and putting people out of work. It's also exacerbating climate damage because of how energy intensive it is. I'm deeply conflicted about this. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Okay, and so this is our movie, right? And though it definitely didn't replicate the original image, it's surprisingly close, right? So again, hold this image in your head, and then compare it to this. Good luck with your interview. Right? It's got the moon in the background, it's got the trees. I actually really like this. This is neat. 100% Hydron, 100%. And that would be the conversation that I would have, you know. It's kind of fun. Surprisingly crisp too. Like I'm not seeing a whole lot. I'm not seeing like blurring and shit. The morphing. And object permanence. Watch the bird that flies from the back. Right? That's good stuff. So anyway, that's where we're at. That's how we're living. I will be back at 5 p.m. Eastern this evening, and we'll watch some movie or some videos. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, which is already in progress. Think I'm reading into kill thickness. You know how this works. Stick around for the raid. Make me look like big strong streamer. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, which is already in progress. In the meantime, drink your water, eat some food, check your meds if you forgot. And always remember that Chuggy loves you. And so do I. Be great. I'll see you later.